Despite all the developments of modern weapon technology, the Russians still consider the tank to be the most suitable instrument of their offensive. The Soviet commitment to the tank remains total, and much of their weapon systems development since the war is aimed at giving other arms the same mobility, protection, and firepower that the tank forces possess. T-72, T-64, T-62, BTR-50. Ooh, the MTLB. BTR. Man, these are interesting tanks. It'd be interesting to be able to play these out on the table, either the tabletop or a board game. If only there were a game like that. All right, everybody, here it is. It arrived, the Kickstarter that I placed in March of 2019. So this is awesome. It's here. Storming the Gap, World at War 85. I'm going to look at this game kind of from a miniature gamer perspective because you're going to see a lot of unboxings. There's one Devin did for an hour, so you can really get a deep dive of what's in this stuff. So a couple boxes came, in 3 boxes actually, came in the box, the Solo Assistant, the Storming the Gap, the main box, and the Storming the Gap, the expansion pack, which is 3 campaigns. This video is going to talk about just real quick Storming the Gap. What is this game and all that? Gamers and miniature gamers. But I just kind of want to go from a miniature gamer perspective just to be a little different. So here's the box. It's huge. I have a couple, it's not criticisms, it's just like, oh, okay. This one did come with a split box up to here, and it's actually split. The expansion box also had that, but it feels like a fairly sturdy box. It has to be because it's very heavy. Lots of stuff in here. So here's the box size. Let me zoom out. Whoops, let's zoom in. And you can see the map behind it, but I want to show you compared to their 3 inches thick. Let's slide this over. You can see that it's a little taller, so it's not going to fit in my traditional storage. But you got a little bit more space here for stuff. And lots of counters and play aids. So let's take a look. So there's the box, and we'll just go ahead and take a look at the maps next. Okay, there's the overall of both sets of maps. It's cool. You get a winterized version and a spring-summer version. I guess spring-summer-fall version and a winter version. So for my miniature playing friends, these are called geomorphic. What does that mean? That means that all these maps, see there's 4 of them, they can align along the long edge because there's 3 roads here. So there's 3 roads on each side. So I could flip this map over, put it over there. I could move this over here. There's water that'll meet up with it everywhere. It allows you to mix and match. So in the base game Come 4, all the maps that come out afterwards, except for the Folded Gap large map, they should all align up. So you can make a variety of maps. The map numbers here are 1, 2, 3, and 45. I find that interesting too. So winter's the same. It's just, crops are down. Anyway, it just makes it more immersive. Oh, I actually have these little flipped around what they are there. I did want to point out something on 2, though, I found interesting. So just a minute. On 2, on both the winter and the spring-summer map, the water doesn't match up. It's not that big a deal. I find that odd, though. So I wonder, is that a mistake? On both short ends. All right, so that's the maps. Let's go take a look at some of the components. Oh yeah, something else I noticed real quick on the winter maps, they forgot the little road nubs. Again, not a big deal. They're on the summer versions. So on 3, little road nub, you can't even see it. And there's one here on 45. Again, not a big deal. Maybe it's buried by the snow. Snowplows haven't been there. All right, like I said, component time. All right, you get dice, 2 decks of cards, charts, and pieces there. Rules, scenario, and then a formation card inventory. And then that is a Kickstarter, and you can order that. And that's the Solo Assistant box. And then those are more charts. So all right, let's talk about the cards here. So this is how you activate your unit. So it's each turn, it's a random activation. So they're formation cards. And so it goes with the color of the stripe on the unit. So if you pull this, it lets you know what you can activate. But it gives you different stats on that unit, especially and if it's been reduced. So, and then there's other stats on the counter itself. And so there's a bunch of cards for that. So you'll have a deck of cards that's there and you flip it over, and so you may or may not get to go, and if you don't, then your card is kept out, I believe. So it's a fun way to activate, and you never know, and so every time you play a scenario it'll be different because of that. So they have the West Germans, Soviet, United States, and things. So you got two very big decks of cards. There's also objective cards and event cards, objective points, that sort of stuff. So anyway, that's the cards, and that's a cool way to activate. So it's kind of random activation, I guess, kind of like a bolt action or something, but it designates the unit that's activated. So that's kind of a cool feature. Let's take a look at some of the charts that you get. So the cool thing here is there's not a whole lot of counters that you need to have on the pieces. There's a few, but what's also cool is that in this game, they have created a lot of the charts that a lot of times the users or players will create after the fact. So here you go. Turn record track, that's pretty basic. Weather, squall, mud box, but then it helps you track all your artillery, the different kinds of artillery, and smoke screens and ADMs. You've got your units that'll be deployed, and then you got your formation deck and discards here, so that's pretty cool. Now they also made these, so this is what comes with the game. There's also a mouse pad type pack or tracker that I'll show you in just a minute that I bought it, or I got as a part of the Kickstarter, but it is an extra buy. So here's a few more of the other charts. The cool thing about this game, well, actually I haven't got to the point where I think it's the cool part for miniature players yet. But anyway, you got the sequence of play. Now understand, let me tell you something. There's a lot of information here, and it can be a little overwhelming. But I really feel like this is for a hex encounter game, it's pretty straightforward. What they've done here, though, and it can be confusing, and it can cause confusion, like their lock and load tactical game that comes with like 100 and plus pages of rules. It does that because they explain things. They put it in a 12-point font. They give a lot of examples. Here, they are very explicit about the sequence of play. So this is cool. And it just helps you go through it, and it gives you the rule references, and it tells you what's going on. So that way, you don't have to dig into the rule book as much. It's all right here. Almost any game, especially board games, they come up with these special plays. So they're really good about that. Like, for example, this thing. Every die roll in the series. So all those special die rolls that come up and these things, that's in a lot of games, even miniature games. Well, this tells you what's going on there, all the special rolls. There's a battlefield events table, so that's a variability thing, which offers every game will be different. I'm not even really sure how that all works. Missile ammo use. So basically what they're doing is they're summarizing a lot of the rules. The move and summary chart, indirect fire. The hardest thing about all these charts is keeping them straight and which ones you really need. Weather change table, and that's not going to come up all the time. Now here's another cool thing, a battle generator. So if you're done with the 21 scenarios, create your own battles. Gives you an idea on how to do that. That's pretty cool. They have whole books on those as well for some of the other games. And direct fire modifiers. So it's all here. You spend less time in the book, and after a while you start to memorize those. So that's pretty cool. Let's look at the rules and the scenario. One last chart, but this is really just a formation card inventory. It tells you how many cards there are and the colors and who represents. So it's like the this is a platoon level game, so each counter is a platoon. And I don't know this era well enough to know what's regiment, battalion, and all that, so I'm not going to pretend to know that. So here are the cool rules, very nicely bound. Let's see how many pages we got there, we'll see. So like here, for example, this is the index starting on 105. Well, this is 100 pages as well. Well, so there's some designer notes, a glossary, big font. So that's cool, man, and lots of great pictures and clarity here. And then the back's filled with an example, scenario, map piece, bottom left. So it's got the starter kit scenario in there if you want, so that's nice. Then the module rules and scenarios, there's 21 scenarios, kind of goes into, this is a cool, almost everything has this in it, where it shows you where the scenario is. Kind of like the old Panzer Leader, but obviously this is fake, but kind of tells you where they go and where they move. So that's kind of cool. Scenario 1, 2, 3, 5, anyway. Pretty awesome. Those are what I'm calling the Chapter H. So if you know anything about ASL, it's the Chapter H of all those charts, back here. They're all telling you what all the pieces are in each inventory. So East German, US, Soviet, and West German. And it just tells you what each thing can do. It's got them so you can track out. It's really more just kind of give you a summary, like when you're looking at a scenario, you can like real skim quick what kind of powers what kind of things you can do. So that's pretty awesome. You don't ever have to look at that if you don't want to. But what is also cool is even more like Chapter H. Chapter H in ASL gives you all the stuff about the equipment. Well, that is in... So it tells you what a unit does. Like what is an ASU-85? It is a Soviet 85 millimeter assault gun on lightweight chassis designed to be airdroppable and used by airborne infantry. So that's cool. The only cooler thing would be pictures, but those are on the counters. Okay, so let me show you a couple other charts that are cool. Again, these are referenced to make the game easy, so you spend less time in the rules. So if you're a miniature gamer, you deal with line of sight. Well, so you deal with line of sight issues. Well, you deal with line of sight in tactical level games, and it can be a confusing part of games. Trust me, it is not as complex as all these charts make it look to be, but this is awesome because it just tells you. It gives you great drawings, and it's here, and again, you don't have to spend time in the rule book. And again, just all the examples, like this blocks line of sight, that doesn't, this does, so that's cool. The other ones here, a terrain effects chart, just like miniature games could actually benefit from having some of this. 3 of 3. Another cool thing they did here for people is they labeled them, so you can remember and you know which one it is. So anyway, terrain effects chart tells you everything that it does. It blocks, obstructs, doesn't matter, unit height, how tall it is. So pretty awesome. The only thing that could be better is if they had provided 2. Now, let me talk real brief why I think this is a good game for miniature. When I first played the World War II version of this game, it's my very first video when I unboxed Nations at War. And at the time, I didn't know. I was like, oh, that's a cool way of doing combat. Well, really, it's almost a miniature way of doing things. So, check out that picture of that T-62 there. So, the numbers here are armor piercing and high explosive. So against soft and against armor. The cool thing is this. The first number is your range, the number of dice you throw, and what it hits on. I was like, I can't remember which. No, when I started playing Blitzkrieg Commander, same way. Roll 3 dice, hit on 5s, hit on 4s. And that's it. That's all you have to know. Your high explosive works the same way. 6 hexes, 2 dice, hit on 5s. Here's your armor save, so when this guy's attacked, if he gets 1 hit or 50 hits, he's going to roll 3 dice, save on 6s. He's going to move 5 points, and when he gets assault in close combat with somebody, with infantry, he gets 2 dice, hitting on 4s. Everything's going to be the same way. All the other figures are going to be the same, except for this is soft, so he doesn't have an armor save. But this is awesome. So especially when you're learning the game, it tells you all the little charts. They have changed this. It is more complex than the last version, but it's more clear. And it's, I think, a little bit more realistic based on the equipment and things. It's a little bit more detailed in that regard, and that's cool. I'm not a Cold War gone hot guy, but this is fun, and I love A-10s and Heinz. And while doing this in miniature would be cool, I'm probably not going to do that. I go and I would never get stuff built for it, so this allows me to do that. So, and then it tells you what all the other counters are, and this is awesome, and the rules reference. Incredible. So again, less time in the book. So that's why I think this is a good game for miniature people. The way the combat works is very simple. There's not going to be a whole much to know there. I'll just show you the counters. So this is your Americans, so the color stripe shows the unit, and it's got pictures of the armor for armor, and then just the NATO symbol for soft, except for like Jeeps and things like that, and there's a back on each side too, and then it just got all the nationalities there. And then the markers for electronic warfare, smoke, low ammo, chemical warfare. It's got, like all you just heard, electronic, mobile, East German, Soviet. It's got it all. It's got helicopters, landed, nape of the earth. That's pretty cool. Flying, wrecks, smoke, burnt out cities, cleared cities, improved positions, objectives, what the objectives are worth. Now I'm spinning on the counters. Fantastic. I don't even know what all this disrupted. I guess opportunity, it's moved. And that's that. So I'll just close it out here and say, So I think it's cool because the combat is the way it works with dice. It's something you're very familiar with. There's no charts and looking at 5 to 1. There's no CRT, which is combat results tables. All the charts are to help you remember the modifiers and help you remember the effects of the game. The geomorphic boards, I'm going to move over here real quick, allow you to put the maps together and make your own scenarios. So, if you're reading a scenario book made for Team Yankee or 7 Days to the Rhine or some other rule set focused on 7 days, or I'm sorry, the Cold War, Team Yankee, reading that book, you can make it up. Now, anyway, so you can make up scenarios you want, and then as you get more games, so I think they have 7 to 8 games, I'm making that up a little bit there, of other expansions and stuff. So they're gonna bring in the British, French, Canadians, they're gonna bring in South America, South America, I believe, or Central America, Africa, China will be there, just other nationalities. Some of the other European countries will be shown up, and that's pretty cool. And my friend Chris is excited about they'll be attacking in America, and I think Texas. Some of the Texas National Guard divisions will be used, and he's excited about that. So pretty cool stuff. And you can arrange these maps, and so you'll get more maps, and they'll all be adaptable. So this is the mousepad mat. Nothing unusual. I mean, you've seen it before. It's thick, very thick. Printed really well on there. The cards will go, you'll put the cards on here like that, and then flip them over here. Turn tracks, strength, it's got the HE, so you can keep track of all that, the weather, turns, the HQs that are ready to go, the casualties for if you need to keep track of that for some reason. But it's nice. It's a nice way of having it, instead of just a cardboard. It's a nice addition. And that's that. It's a great deal. It's $105 retail. I just looked up. They have sales. Look for them, Labor Day sale or Veterans Day occasionally, so you can look for that. You can only pretty much buy them on a Lock and Load publishing website. But I'm excited about it, and you will be seeing some, at least one gameplay video, hopefully more. All right, that's that. We'll see y'all later. Bye.